You're listening to the Life Edit Project podcast, the show where recovering perfectionists learn how to feel better, do better, and have better relationships. I am your favorite life coach and podcast host, Coach Elizabeth Burrows, and today we're discussing how to spot the signs that you need a reset. Because, yes, my friend, there will always be signs. So let's dig into it, shall we? Ready? Let's go. Good day, good people. Welcome to episode 111 of the Life Edit Project podcast. I am super duper excited that you are here. This is the first Wednesday of July. So we are, smack dab in the middle of the year here. And today is a very special day because it is actually my 14th wedding anniversary with my hubby, Travis Burrows. I love him so much, and I can't believe that we have been married for 14 years, y'all. That is crazy pants. Listen, if y'all have questions about marriage and about how we navigate some of the tricky, sticky situations that come up in marriage and how I, as a recovering perfectionist, work through some of my own challenges in my marriage. I'm down for discussing. Just let me know what it is that you want to know. I do have an episode from the very first season of this show where I had my husband on as a special guest and we talked a bit about our relationship. We talked a bit about the fact that marriage is hard and it's not for everyone. So go back and listen to that. I'll go ahead and link it up in the show notes. But if you have any other questions about how perfectionism has maybe impacted my own personal marriage, let me know. Ask me anything. There's a form that you can fill out, and I will also link that up in the show notes where you can drop me a question. So if there's something that you're curious about, something that you're wondering about, if there is something in your own life that you want some advice or perspective from a professional life coach, I'm your girl. So hit me up and let me know what it is that you want to hear. I guess that's enough preamble for today's conversation. I don't want to hold you too long. I don't want to hold myself too long because I got celebrating to do. Last week in episode 110, I gave you some questions to reflect on as part of a mid-year check-in. And I wanted to kind of pick up where we left off. And so today we're going to talk about some of the things that might be happening in your life that would signal that you need more than just a check-in, that maybe you need a full-on mid-year reset. And maybe before we jump into the how do you know it's time, let's just get on the same page and make sure that we know what a reset is. So when I talk about needing a reset, I am literally referring to the reset coaching session that I offer. So the reset coaching session is actually a 2-hour intensive that I offer that will help you get your life to actually align to your priorities so that your values actually show up on your schedule, right? Because that's not how life automatically happens. So during the reset coaching session, I actually take you through my signature 5-step reset process. And I coach you through everything that comes up, the problems, the opportunities, and you end up walking away from this intensive with a plan that you can follow and a fun workbook full of all of the insights that we captured during the session. And of course, you also walk away with just a fresh mindset and a full batch of confidence so that you can feel like you have what you need to do what needs to be done. And so the reset coaching session, it's a very special way to work with me. Normally, if you want to work with me one-on-one, it is over a series of 3 to 6 months, and we meet once a week. And my coaching clients see amazing results, and I always recommend that. But sometimes this 2-hour coaching intensive can be exactly what you need to just kind of get back on track with what matters to you. So, how do you know that that's what you actually need to do? How do you know that a reset would actually be helpful to you? There are 4 different signs, 4 different situations that might be happening in your life that I want to just bring to your attention. So, the first sign that it might be time for a reset is that you've got a plan, you've got goals, but you have just completely fallen off. It's not that anything in particular is standing in your way. It's just you're not following the plan, and therefore you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And you can't figure out how to get yourself back on track. So maybe you had a fitness routine and you were doing really well at it. And then all of a sudden you opted out of one routine and then the next, and you look up and it's been 30 days since you've moved your body, right? Or maybe you were working on your own business, but you got out of the habit and now you feel like your business is just sitting there and it's not doing what it's supposed to do. So there are all kinds of ways to just fall off from a perfectly good plan. And sometimes it's not that you need a new plan, you just need to get yourself back on track. You need to actually reset and recommit and refocus on what's possible for you. And the reset session can help you do that. So that's the first sign. The second sign that it might be time for you to have a reset is that your situation today looks totally different than when you made your original plan, or your circumstances, or maybe your whole life is drastically different than what it was when you first set your goals. And if your life is so different than it was when you first started out, it might feel like it doesn't make sense to just keep going along with the original plan. And if that's how you're feeling, taking the time to actually reset and reassess what's happening in your life might be time well spent. And it might be exactly what you need to chart a new path forward and keep making progress. Now, a third sign that it might be time for a reset, and this is really common, especially among perfectionists and people with perfectionist tendencies. The third sign is that you are just burned out. Good old fashioned burned out, right? If you're in burnout, this might show up in a couple of different ways, right? Because there's more than one way to be burnt out. So, on the one hand, you might still be working your plan, right? You might still be doing all of the things that you set out to do. You might be taking no days off. You might be hustling and grinding, trying to make things happen and move forward. But keeping up that pace is literally killing you. It is draining you and it is unsustainable. And you feel like something's got to give, or you might just give up. Another way of being burned out is that you are just regularly hitting your limits. And you could be tapping out after hitting your physical limits, your mental limits, your emotional limits, when you are always overloading your capacity to do something, to endure something, to feel something, so much so that your body or your mind just shuts down. That is a state of burnout. And the more you do that, the more you push those limits, and the more frequently you max out your capacity and actually have to stop in order to be able to keep going, the more sensitive you become to the things that can overwhelm your capacity. So, burnout is a chronic situation. And if you don't do something to either deepen your capacity or to protect yourself from the things that threaten to overwhelm your capacity, you will continue to be more and more burnt out, and you will have less to give towards your goals, towards your priorities, and towards the things that actually matter to you. And so if you are operating in burnout, it is time for a reset. The fourth sign that it might be time for a reset is that you're not sure you still want the same things anymore. So it could be that you're feeling like you have goals, but your goals don't really light you up anymore. Maybe you're realizing that you can keep going. You can continue down the path that you're on. You see the path forward. It's all possible. Maybe you're all set up, but you just don't know why you would want to. There's nothing compelling to keep you on the same path. It can be very difficult to operate in that space. It can be very difficult to sustain willpower and effort over time, especially when things get hard, when you don't even have a reason to endure. So if you're feeling disconnected from your purpose, disconnected from your why, it is absolutely a great idea to take the time to reset. Now, I am not saying that if you book a reset session with me, everything will magically be easier. That is not at all what I'm promising. There will always be challenges in life. Half the time, things are going to suck, right? We can't stop that. That is part of living a full life. That's part of having a human experience. You will not always feel 100% motivated, even when you are operating in your purpose, even when you are chasing the things that you actually want and the things that matter to you. That is not what the reset session is going to give you, because you don't need to feel 100% good 100% of the time. That is not what we need to get through this life. Instead, the reset session will offer you clarity and a practical plan that you can follow, as well as a process, a repeatable process that you can use over and over again to set your sights on success anytime you feel like you've lost your focus. The reset is not just about getting clarity in the here and now. It's about knowing that you have a way to find your clarity whenever it feels like it is out of reach. It is absolutely possible. I've done this with myself. I've done this with my clients, and we've gotten fantastic results. I do not want to keep this to myself. I want you to get in on this reset magic. So, if you are ready to get your mojo back for the second half of 2025, tap the link that is in the show notes to book a reset call with me, and let's get busy getting reset and refocused. There is still plenty of time to make 2025 your best year ever. And I would love to be the coach that helps you do that. All right, y'all. That's all I got for you today, because I have life to go live. So peace and hair grease, and keep your edges laid straight. All right. I'll talk to you next week. Peace.